Thanks, Monica. As you can see, in today's world, just about anybody can be a cartoon character. You gotta love my hair, right? I mean, come on, if only Animojis came with a Beyonce fan. Of course, no one's ever accused me of not being animated. Now, in September 1960, 2 years before even I was born, the first primetime animated TV show, The Flintstones, debuted on ABC, Yabba Dabba Doo, and ran for 6 years. Saturday mornings were dominated by animation. It was my babysitter. I mean, I learned how to be gay from Bugs Bunny, basically. Now, primetime animation was able to get away with things that scripted and live television just couldn't, and it continues to do so. And when the internet took off, animation went there too. In fact, one animated show, Queer Duck, started online. I was told later by Mike Reese, one of the creators, that he actually used Andrew and I at KFI AM 640 as sort of a template for Queer Duck. That was pretty cool. I mean, you know, you're a template for a cartoon. Our next presenter got to voice the lead character for the Showtime series of the same name, but is no stranger to television. He's worked with puppets like Alf and Tammy Faye Baker, who would make a great puppet, actually, and has kept us entertained on shows like Too Close for Comfort and Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Please welcome the voice of 1,000 characters, Jim J. Bullock!
Thanks, Karel. You are such a character. And thank you for having me on the show. I'm here to toast the noms and winner of the Dorian Award for Best Animated Series. You know, animation is one of the first ways many of us discover television and stuff about ourselves. Like, did you know Casper the Friendly Ghost was gay? Well, not really, but it says here in the script to tell a story here at this point about you when you were a kid and which characters you thought were gay or had a crush on. And, well, there weren't any back then, so Casper's it. Adult animation has a huge important place on TV. The shows can go wherever they want if they've got a good bunch of artists. So they're often freer to get social commentary across, champion love and acceptance in a way that sticks even more than hard-hitting dramas. So, the nominees for Best Animated Series are Big Mouth, Bob's Burgers, Harlan Quinn, Invincible, South Park, the Pandemic Special. And the winner is... Ooh, I'm so excited. Big Mouth. Congratulations, gang. Accepting is co-creator Nick Kroll and guest star Josie Totah.
We are genuinely so grateful and honored to receive the Dorian from the LGBTQ Entertainment Critics Association. I hope I got that right. I have it right here. I knew if I had tried to hold it up and say it at the same time, I would screw up. So, but I'm just glad mainly that I tried to match, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job. But honestly, we're so honored. Because we've worked very hard on creating stories about inclusivity and to be honored by this organization really means a lot to us. And even more so, I'm more excited that we've brought in Josie Totah to be a part of our family. She's an amazing actor and an amazing talent, and we're just thrilled to include her in our family. And she's just amazing.
First, thank you, Nick, for saying nice things about me. And thank you for including me in this. I feel like hopefully this is a step in the right direction in representation, especially like in animated series and films, trans characters. I think this is like one of the first, which is sort of insane to think about. And yeah, I mean, getting to be a character on like a show that's so funny is like one of the greatest gifts. I was once famously on a UK animated series that taught children how to urinate. So this is a very much, this is like a good half step above that. And I'm happy that I'm no longer doing that, and I'm getting to be a part of really cool things like this. So
I did. I went to a Jewish day school with my co-creator Andrew Goldberg, and it's loosely based on some of our experiences growing up and going through puberty. And at the time, I don't know that we had any trans kids in our class. Maybe they are now. At the time, this was in the early 90s. It was not nearly as easy or inclusive to be anything but straight, cis, heterosexual. But what we found, when we created the show, it was beginning with the diving off of our stories. But as we started to tell our stories, we started to expand and tell other kids' stories, some of them based on friends of ours, some of them based on our writers. And as we continued to evolve the show, we realized that we had the responsibility of not just telling our stories, but the stories of other kids and what their experiences were. And my co-creators, Andrew Goldberg, Jen Flackett, and Mark Levin, had been interested in telling a trans story. At which point we also brought in Patty Harrison, who is an incredibly talented comedian, actor, writer, performer. And she helped us break this story and wrote the story for the episode where we introduce Natalie, which is Josie's character. And we worked hard at trying to tell this story that was hopefully true to one kid's experience, but also didn't limit that kid to just transness being the entirety of their identity. And then when we brought in Josie as the actor, she brought so much of herself into the character and was great to collaborate with on it. So our goal, no matter how we grew up, and no matter how anyone grows up, I think we all have, at least on our show, the desire to tell all these different stories, because at their core, they're all the same story, which is, especially around adolescence and puberty, which is everyone feels quite alone, and everyone feels like what is happening to them is the first time it's ever happening and the craziest thing that's ever happened. So whether you're a straight, cis, white male, or a person of color, trans, bi, pan, demi, whatever, however you identify, that hopefully that this show speaks to you in some way or other.
I mean, there's like no representation for trans people other than like, really negative portrayals of men playing trans people, and which has perpetuated stereotypes and furthered the sort of ignorance surrounding trans culture and trans people. So no, and getting to see it now is super exciting. I'm so excited about MJ Rodriguez and Janet Mock and like Laverne Cox and all these incredible women who are finally getting a spotlight and are getting to be sources of representation for thousands of kids who never get to see themselves. But yeah, I mean, our show is, like I said, like one of the first, which is so cool. And I just feel very honored that I get to be a part of the shepherding of this like new wave.
Animation allows people to talk about things that in live action are more complicated to do, like our show in general is about kids going through puberty. And so knowing that it's adults voicing those kids has allowed us to tackle more complicated, nuanced social matters. And I will say, our goal is we have a responsibility of what messaging we're putting out there. We try to be very careful about teaching people things, because we are a comedy show and entertainment, and we hope that the messages that kids are receiving and learning are absorbed in a way that, and I do think it's easier in animation, but I think as we're watching in live action, things are changing, and hopefully for the better. I mean, Josie's also the star of Saved by the Bell, which was a show that I watched growing up, and now this new generation, to see Josie on that show being funny and beautiful and smart and complicated and things like that, it's a really wonderful It's just a great, I think, momentum as we head towards hopefully a more inclusive media landscape where people can play all types of things and aren't necessarily always about whatever their this one element of their identity.
We need more like incredible storytellers like Nick and everyone at Big Mouth who are really great allies and who not only want to include representation on their show, but true and authentic representation. And, you know, I mean, Nick did so much work for this, talking to trans people, talking to parents of trans kids. And, you know, that's the kind of work that's necessary in order to see like real concrete change.
Honored and happy to be included.